And I'll stop the transcription. Okay. Let's move on. Firstly, WA Cricket acknowledge the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation as the traditional custodians of this country and its waters, and the Waika Grandstands on Whadjuk country. We pay respects to Noongar elders, both past and present. This presentation is being recorded for future reference. So if you're under 18, I think that's you only, Kurt. Please do not switch on your camera. Anybody else, if you want to ask a question, you can pop your hand up. In fact, let's not do the hands up. If you want to ask a question, just pop your camera on, and then after a couple of slides, we'll have a bit of a break, and then we'll go around the room and ask if anybody's got any questions. But acknowledging that you don't have to put your camera on. If you wish to use the hand up facility, that's all good. I will certainly be able to spot that. So we are here for one day in T20 playing conditions. Firstly, I'm going to show you where we find our playing conditions. We'll go over some changes of some playing conditions. I'll give you a brief outline of the important aspects of the playing conditions. Then we're going to talk about WA policies and procedures. And then we're going to talk about the application of one of those guidelines. So I'm going to stop sharing. Actually, if you give me a moment, I'll get this particular screen up. Can you still see the presentation? Yep. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing. How do I do that? Hold on. Who's those arguing children? So I'm going to share my screen. Hang on. Okay, can you let me know when you can see Google? Someone will have to say that because I can't see you people now.
I can see
Google. That's good. So if you go to Google, have a quick look at my recent history. So you would search WA Premier Cricket. Okay, should be your top one. WA Premier Cricket, which is part of the WA Cricket website. I strongly advise that you have this as one of your favorites. Okay, it's one of my favorites over here, WAPC. And there we are. So there's WA Premier Cricket, and you scroll down to competition administration. Some really important documents in there. Just some general information, approved player movements. We don't need to worry about this. Player dispensations. It's just so the information is public and confirmable. Not by us. This is more for clubs, judiciary, weather information, forms and applications. That's where you'd find the code of conduct forms. This is the important one, and this is the important one as well. So policies and then rules and playing conditions. So we click into rules and playing conditions. General rules. There are three lots of general rules. There is the general rules for the male competition. There's the general rules for the female competition, and there are general rules for the female youth Premier League. So I'll just click into the general rules for the male competition, and lots of details, lots and lots of detail. Spirit of Cricket Awards, player code of conduct, tribunal, how the tribunal must work. So they're not included in each set of playing conditions, which is important because we don't want to have to print out 4 trees for every time we print a set of playing conditions. Laws of cricket, forfeits, lots of stuff we don't need to be concerned about. Approved equipment. That's an important one. We'll just have a brief look at that in just a moment. And then policies, procedures for going through if there's wet weather. We don't need to be concerned. The information will come out via Premier Cricket, via John or Ahmed or possibly myself if we've got played cancel for a day. So if I move down to page 21. Oh, that's lucky. 5.6.2, the approved balls for the competition. So this is where we find the information on our approved balls that we can use. Okay, so those are the general rules. I'll just close that screen. Hang on. Oh, it's not let me do it. Here we go, close those. Okay, so we go back here and then each of the playing conditions for each of our competitions. Senior males, both 2 days, 1 days T20 and junior T20s. Junior males, 2 days, 1 days, senior and junior T20s. senior females, one dayers and T20s, junior females, under 17s, under 14s, T20s, and under 17s, one dayers. They all go through the same process, the same template. So if we look at the senior male one dayers, go back to the top, they follow the laws of cricket. So when you are going over these playing conditions, it's a really good idea to have a copy of the laws of cricket with you. Really, very, very good idea. So you can reference the laws of cricket when you are going through your playing conditions. Again, we just looked through these playing conditions, some general rules in there. The players, it says it's 11 aside. The other ones might say they play 12. Gives you the details of the clothing. This is in the one-day competition. Don't forget, umpires. That's where we say we need to arrive at the ground 60 minutes before the match. Scorers. On the umpires there. That's where we talk about the captain's meeting. So after each match, we have a captain's meeting within half an hour. Talk about the ball. Refers to those general conditions. Creases, wide lines, all of our details are in here. The interval, so in a senior male match, our interval is one-day match, our interval is 30 minutes, and in a senior female one-day match, our interval is 40 minutes. Start and end times, etc., etc. So all of our details of our playing conditions in here. How we work out. So for those of you who were at the GWL session last week, we spoke about interrupted matches and recalculating the length of matches. In the playing conditions is where it tells us how to do it. Talks about the result, talks about Duckworth-Lewis, and that's why we apply Duckworth-Lewis in our competitions, because our playing conditions tell us. It talks about no ball, and it talks about free hits after the no balls and the restrictions and the caveats on no ball. Talks about wides, leg side wides, offside wides. We will cover that later on this afternoon or this evening. Substitutes, etc. So if a substitute has been off for a certain amount of time, then they cannot bowl or bat. We've spoken about substitute players, fielding restrictions. This is where if the overs are reduced, the power plays that would apply to each game. And then moving down, number of short balls per over. Bowlers shall be limited to 2 short balls. And then it tells you about the restrictions on them and the warning procedure, etc. And then this is where we find our appendix in the playing conditions as well. So each set of playing conditions, very much similar basis. If I go to the junior under 17s and under 14s female youth league for T20s, again, they're very similar documents. To find out which is which, you need to go to the front there and this part there. So each competitions that you're going to umpire in, I personally advise to have them printed out. It does mean that they're not searchable. You can't do a Control F and search for penalty, for example. Penalty. You can't do that obviously with a paper copy, but it's much easier than expanding your phone and reducing your phone and expanding your phone and reducing your phone. So it's a really good idea to have a copy of those playing conditions to hand. I will go back to my presentation. Please give us a thumbs up when you can see it. Cool. Thank you very much. We will resume from where we were. Okay, so that's where we find and how we read our PCs. An overview of the changes. This is just an overview of the changes. So who is new? So Abrar, you umpired last year. Mahesh is umpired. Kurt is new to Premier Cricket. Raj is new to Premier Cricket. Shazad, are you new to Premier Cricket?
Yes, I'm new to the Premier Cricket, yes.
Okay, good. So this is just some of the really important points, certainly more for Mahesh and Abrar, who umpired last year. Shazad, you couldn't mute yourself again, please. Thank you. So there's a change to the balls that are permitted in the competition. So Mahesh, Abrar, focus your attention on that part of the general rules. In second grade one-day matches, white balls, coloured clothing. So it used to be just first grade white balls, coloured clothing, and the rest were red balls, so predominantly white clothing, but now first grade and second grade white balls, coloured clothing. Big change. The next one is a big change. So our under 19 bowlers, they used to be restricted to 8 overs in a spell. That has been reduced to 6 overs in a spell. They're still permitted to bowl 20 overs in a day, but only 6 overs in a spell, and then they have to take their break. Anytime there's a question, just pop a hand up or pop your camera on. The age cutoff for under 13s is now the 31st of August. It used to be the 30th of June to be with the school year, but this is now changed to 31st of August. It's in line with the age group cutoffs in Cricket Australia competitions and pathway competitions. As we move through the age group, so next season it will be under 13s, under 14s, the season after under 13s, under 14s, under 15s, and it's a staged implementation of that change of age. For our first and second grade matches, their default time now is 10:30 start. It does say in the playing conditions 11 a.m. That is a minor typing error, a minor oversight. Big changes here. So 1 day competition, not the T20 comp, 1 day competition. Short balls permitted has been increased from 1 to 2, both male and female competitions. In under 13s and under 14s, male competitions, that has been reduced from 2 to 1. So that's now aligned with our junior grades. Okay, any questions on that? Click my next slide. So on the female side of things, in the female competitions, both so a lunch will be provided or an afternoon tea for that period between the innings in 1 day matches in seniors only. However, important to recognise that the break between the innings or the time between the innings is still an interval. It is an interval between the innings. It is not a lunch break. So if the first team are bowled out, the first batting side are bowled out within 20-25 overs, you don't take a shortened innings change. If people come to you and say, our lunch isn't ready, our food's not ready, can we have a quick 10-minute change and then go and bat for an hour? The answer is no. You will take your 40-minute scheduled break and then you'll go out and bat, and then they can eat afterwards. Okay, so but the home team will be providing food for 1 days. It's like an afternoon tea. And then same for the under 19 players, reducing bowling spell from 8 overs to 6 overs for pace bowlers, same as the boys, pace bowlers only. And it's up to us as umpires to decide what is and what isn't a pace bowler. The innings break has been increased from 30 minutes to 40 minutes in the senior and junior female competitions only. That is in line with Women's National Cricket League. And their default time for 1 day matches has moved to 9:30 in the morning. Short balls have increased from 1 to 2 to align with Cricket Australia and ICC competition playing conditions as well. And the boundary size has now been specified: minimum length, maximum length. Something as part of your pre-match inspection, you should really be focusing on making sure that the boundary is the correct length. If you turn up on a Sunday to a female youth league game or a women's A grade game and they've just put the boundary on the boundary line from the day before, almost certainly going to be wrong. So a great tip that somebody noted yesterday was to consider using, you can use an app on your iPhone. There's a measuring tool, a measuring app. You could use that. You could use a Google Measure or something similar, or just pace it out. If you, like me, you do stuff the old-fashioned way, so just pace it out. And if it appears wrong, just raise it with the club. Raise it with the club. Were you sure? Can we confirm the length of this boundary? Could you recheck it for me, please? Or could you check it for us, please, just to make sure it's right? Chances are they don't know. They don't know. That's why we need to be armed with this information with our printed playing conditions. Okay. So these general bits of information, and this presentation will be shared on Friday by John in Before the Toss, which is really important that we read the Before the Toss. This is general information on each of the competitions, 1 day competitions, the 1 day matches. So in the top row there, it's about senior males. Anything across that top line in bold is for first and second grade. If it's in lowercase and bracketed, it's for third and fourth grade. And if it's in red font, then it's for under 15s and under 17s. So for example, this is all in your playing conditions, so you can print these out and you'll know about this. So in the third and the fourth grade, so it's bracketed, they use white clothes and red balls, 45 overs, 170 minutes per innings, 30 minutes for your lunch interval, or sorry, for your break between the innings, not a lunch interval. That could change if you get ground weather and light. which makes 400 minutes for the day. Minimum overs for the match is 20, and 9 overs per bowler. Duckworth Lewis applies to this competition, and your power play overs are noted there. So for the first 9 overs, 2 fielders are permitted outside the circle. For the next overs from 10 to 36, 4 out. And for the last power play number 3, 37 to 45, 5 fielders out. And as I mentioned earlier, 2 short balls permitted over the shoulder. The third one will be a no ball, and then you go through the warning process as well. So that's how you read that that screen, this bit of information. If we look at the under 13s and under 14s boys, so they play 12 aside. Only 11 players are allowed to bat. Only 11 players are allowed on the field at any time. All 12 may bowl. And then in the details, under 14s play 50 overs, under 13s play 40 overs, and you move along. The difference with the fielding restrictions. So with our under 13s, for the first 10 overs, they need to have 2 players, so they must be outside that circle. They must be within 4 meters of the boundary. Within 4 meters of the boundary when that ball is delivered. And then for the second, or for the rest of the time from overs 11 through to 40, 5 fielders, they must be either within 4 meters of the boundary or in the slips or the gullies region, and that does include leg slip. They are permitted to have them at leg slip as well. The reason for that is to encourage players to play shots and take singles, knock a ball into a gap, take a single. It's to encourage the rotation of the strike and not to choke the game, give players the opportunity to score runs. And in the under 14s competition, as you'll see, first 15 overs, 2 fielders within 4 meters of the boundary. And then for the rest of the overs, 5 fielders either within 4 meters of the boundary or within that slip or gully region. So any questions on those playing, but they're only allowed 1 short ball. And in the under 17s girls, 1-day competition, which is 40 overs, coloured clothing, white balls, and then those are your details there. Minimum 15 overs constitutes a match. In the female competition, they have 2 power play. In fact, they have 1 power play. That's a period of overs at the start of the match. The rest of the match are considered non-power play overs. So it's either 2 out in your power play overs, and in all your female competitions, including internationals and national competitions, it's 2 out, and then in your non-power play overs, 4 fielders out. So there's only those, you're either in the power play or you're not in the power play. And in the under 17s girls, they're only permitted 1 short ball per over. Any questions? And welcome Ahmed as well. No questions, good. So for T20 matches, all the playing conditions are the same. All the timings, the length of the interval, length of the interval is 15 minutes, unless there's a delay or an interruption in the first innings, in which case it gets reduced to 10 minutes, but that's not for a slow over rate. So if they finish their overs a little bit late because they've been a little bit slow, that's not considered a delay or an interruption to the first innings. You would still take your 15 minutes. All the details are the same, and important to recognise that in our competitions, we have a power surge. So we have 4 power play overs at the start of the innings, and then from the 10th over onwards, the batting team can elect to take 2 further overs together. The 2 overs are taken together, and that is known as the power surge. And we signal that just by making that power play signal to the scorers, and we tell everybody these are your power surge overs. If the batting team haven't taken their power surge overs at the end of the 18th over, then the 19th and the 20th overs will be the power surge overs. Okay, and then the only difference between our senior Colts T20 junior male competitions, junior female competitions, is the colour of the clothing and the colour of the balls. So in our under 15s, under 17s males, white clothes, red balls. In all other competitions, coloured clothes, white balls. And in our junior comps, they have 12 aside, only 11 may bat, only 11 can be on the field at any time, but all 12 may bowl. Okay, any questions on T20s? Read those playing conditions, and if there's something you don't know, investigate until you're comfortable that you do know, and then verify it with your mentor or me or John or a coach. Verify it with somebody more experienced, verify what you know. And if you don't know, if you simply cannot work it out, please don't guess. Please speak to on this call. My first calls would be to either Ahmed or Mahesh. Give them a ring, give your mentor a ring, give me a call, give one of the really experienced umpires and ask the question until you do know. So if there's something you don't know, something you want clarified, certainly better. I would much rather my phone rang 100 times to clarify some playing conditions than one person think they know it but actually get it wrong. So let's make sure we go in armed with that information. Some points of note for all short form, so both one-day matches and T20 matches. All no balls are free hits, and those free hit caveats and restrictions apply. Rewides and fielding changes. So if the next ball is the free hit is a wide ball, then the following ball becomes that free hit as well. So our signalling would be, just move for signaling. So the bowler bowls a ball and it's a no ball. So we go no ball to the game when the ball is dead, no ball to the scorers. Then we tell the scorers it's a free hit. We would then go forward to the popping crease or next to the stumps, and then we'd tell the whole game, inform the batters that it's a free hit. If that following ball, if that free hit ball is a wide, we signal wide to the game. We turn, signal wide to the scorers, and then we remind the scorers it's a free hit. We then go back to the sector next to the stumps, and we remind the batters and the fielders that it's a free hit. Everybody, and I suggest you verbalize that as well. My recommendation is to batters, that's a free hit, confirming that's a free hit. We tell everybody it's a free hit. All deliveries is contrary to the laws of cricket. So in our playing conditions, all deliveries that are bounce and go over the head are a wide, and they are one short ball for the over. So let's not forget that they are one short ball. So if I bowl a third one that bounces over the head in a one-day game, or a second one in a T20 match, bounces, goes over the head, that becomes a no ball, 2 for the over, and then that first warning. So no ball for the ball being above head height or above the shoulder, and then we would start going through that warning process as well. In all of our short form competitions, they are not allowed to have more than 5 fielders on the leg side. If they do, then it's a no ball. Excuse me. The boundary lengths differ in different competitions and refer to your playing conditions, and the fielding restriction circles differ as well. So in the male competition, it's 30 yards or 27.43 meters, and in the female competition, it's 23 meters. Once again, when you're going out for the toss to do your ground inspection, really good idea, really good practice and preparation just to pace it out. So if you're in a female match, I know my 22 yards, which is the distance of a pitch, is about 27 steps. So if I'm taking, which is 20.12 meters, so I'm doing 27 steps for 20.12 meters. So to get to 23 meters, I'm going to be doing about 32 steps. So as I'm walking up to inspect the ground, as soon as I get to my fielding restriction, I'm going to start counting my steps and get to about 32, 33. Then I'm comfortable that the distance of that fielding restriction circle is correct. If I'm getting to 37 steps, 38, 39, 40 steps, then I've probably got a problem. I may check it using my special iPhone app, my iPhone tape measure, or something clever on Google, as we spoke about. I would also raise it with the home team, the home coach, the home captain. Excuse me. You need to check. Can you check the circle's the right the circle's the right shape? Can you check the circle's the right distance for me, please? Now, I need a very quick voice break. So we'll take a 3-minute break and we'll come back at 6:32 and we'll talk about wides. Okay, 6:32, we're back in the room. And welcome, Asif. So let's talk wides. So in our various competitions, there are 3 ways that we interpret wides, particularly on the leg side. So we have our wide lines painted, as we saw in the playing conditions. And I want to talk about both anything down leg side or between the wide lines on both sides. So if you look at the competition, so the male one-day matches, the male Colts and Premier T20 matches, all under 15s and under 17s male matches. And then on the female side of things, female A grade, all of their matches, both T20 and 50 over. The female B grade T20 and under 17 female Youth Premier League T20 matches. Any ball down the leg side, anything bowled down the leg side is a wide, unless certain things do apply. So if the ball passes between the stumps and the batter, that is not a wide. If the ball hits the batter, obviously it's not a wide. And if the batter either shapes to play a reverse sweep or a switch hit, plays a reverse sweep or a switch hit, or aborts playing a reverse sweep or a switch hit, then that ball down the leg side won't be a wide unless it goes outside the other wide line. So the final one is if the batter moves and the ball would have hit the batter in a normal standing position. So we spoke about this at great length last night when we were in person on this call. It is exceptional. It is an exception, a real unusual exception for a ball down leg side not to be called wide. If the ball is just shaving that leg stump, really close to the leg stump, then we may not call it a wide. If the bowler's making a genuine attempt to go for the stumps and the batter's moved across to try and flick the ball down leg side, it just misses those stumps, just misses, then we would not call a wide. So the playing conditions say anything down leg side is a wide unless it passes between the stumps and the batter, or if the batter plays, attempts to play, shapes to play, or aborts playing either a reverse sweep or a switch hit, then we have 2 offside wide lines, or we have 2 wide lines. So we would go with the line 17 inches, or if the batter moves across from their original position and the ball just misses those stumps. But if the ball goes more than a ball's width away from leg stump, I'm calling a wide. We need to be consistent. We need to be firm. So let's make sure we apply that really well. It's an exceptional ball down leg side that is not wide, a real exception that is not called a wide. If, as the middle column there, between the wide lines on both sides, so if you go back to those playing conditions where we had the drawings of the creases, our wide lines will be drawn 17 inches from the return crease if the ball goes or passes the popping crease outside those lines on either side in these competitions. Female B grade one-day matches, female under 17 Youth League one-day matches, and the female 14s, all of their matches, then we have 2 wide lines. So if the ball goes between the batter's heel and the wide line on the leg side, it is not a wide, not a wide. And where our 3 stars are there on the bottom of the under 14s female, that is different from the written playing conditions. So the playing conditions say anything down leg. That is not correct. It is wrong. This is the correct interpretation. I suggest you print out this slide and take it somewhere with you. Any questions on wides? We're going well. Okay, so there's our leg side wide. Striker moves to the offside, or passes between the striker and the stumps. Striker moves to the offside, and in the umpire's opinion, the ball would have made contact with the striker in a normal batting position. That's the one. That is the very unusual exception. Or if the striker is attempting to play or is aborted to play. So just going back to part B there, if it's a ball that is 5, 6, 10 inches above the height of the stumps and down the leg side, even you think, oh, it might have hit the batter on the backside or the top of the thigh, we're still calling wide. Okay. And if the striker is attempting to play, reported and attempted and attempt to play a reverse sweep or a switch hit, then we have our 2 offside wide lines as our guide. And if I can move into now under 13s and under 14s, will anybody be umpiring under 13s or under 14s boys on a Sunday afternoon? If you will, or if that is your intention, please raise your hand. So Kurt, Raj, cool. So we'll go over these details. So for the timing, so generally, thanks, you drop your hands now, you gents. So the timings of our matches in most of our competitions, in fact, in all of our competitions except this one, we finish bowling the overs. No matter how late the team bowling either first or second finish, we finish bowling the overs, and we may apply over penalties in there. In the under 13s and under 14s competition, in the first innings, the innings of the team batting first is ended after they've received the maximum number of overs, and that could be reduced because of ground weather and light, but let's say it's a 50 over match. After they've received their 50 overs, or when we reach the prescribed time for the end of that innings, prescribed time for the interval, whichever occurs first. Okay, so the example given there is if my team are bowling and Ahmed's team are batting, if I've, at the end of my innings time, I've only bowled 46 point, or in fact it says 48.1 there, doesn't it? If I've only bowled 48.1 and the time has been reached, we complete that over, but I only receive 49 overs when I bat. If I've only bowled 42.3 overs, then I will get to 43, and when I bat, I only receive 43 overs. That's why if you're umpiring under 13s or under 14s, boys, really important that you keep the team going through their overs because it is potentially open to abuse, excuse me, and open to manipulation. So that's for the team batting first. For the team batting second, their innings is finished. So in this case, it's Ahmed's team. Oh, sorry, no, my team. I'm batting second now and Ahmed's bowling. So if I reach my maximum number of overs, which is 50, if I completed my overs, if I reach the maximum number of overs permitted, because I bowled my slow over rate. So if I've only bowled my 43.2 or 42.3, then I'm only getting 43. If I've reached that 43 overs, so my overs that I bowled, or if I've reached the end time plus 20 minutes. So there is 20 minutes permitted overtime in that second innings to complete the overs, which takes away the ability for, hopefully takes away the ability for a team to abuse that privilege. So really important that we understand the timings is very important. Keeping our teams up to date on their over rates and ensuring that they're doing their best to get through, and that means that we maintain the integrity of the under 13s and the under 14s as best we can. Important, however, to understand their cut-off times and what we do when we reach those cut-off times. That's really, really important. For this, the 20 minutes in the second innings, it's permitted overtime. It is not additional time. So if we get rain or if we get an interruption for ground weather and light, we do not have 20 minutes that we can add on to the total remaining playing time. That is just permitted overtime, that we allow the teams to go overtime in order to achieve a result. Okay. I'd like us all now to practice a bit of gratitude. So in the chat, I'd just like you to type something that you're grateful for, please. Gratitude is a great thing. I'll be typing some in mine as well. So Shazad is grateful for some good food in today's team meeting at work. Got any jobs going, Shazad? That's good. Excellent stuff.
Yep.
Abrar is very grateful for playing fairly and appreciating good cricket. That's good. Kurt is grateful for his grandparents letting me come down to Augusta with them. That's really good. Excellent. Lovely bit of holiday time. Well done. Raj is grateful to live, work and play and raise a family in Perth, which is absolutely fantastic. I've got some friends over from Tasmania at the moment, Raj. They think it's the middle of summer. And I've told them we've got a long way to go yet, mate. This is barely spring. So Mahesh is grateful for managing my work at the office despite having a hectic schedule and staying and did a bit of overtime. So it's good to have you on board there, Mahesh. I'm now going to pass to my good friend and colleague, Ahmed Khan, who is going to speak about some changes to the WA Premier Cricket policies. So over to you, Ahmed.
Thank you very much, James. While I figure out getting myself connected. All right.
I'm pretty sure. I don't think you can take control. So if you just ask to go, there's only two slides that will show. We won't show that third slide.
All right. I think everyone can see me. Everyone can hear me. Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ahmed Khan. For those who don't know me, cricket operations coordinator at the WACA. I look after the senior male side of and junior male side of Premier Cricket. But generally involved in most Premier Cricket in terms of rules, playing conditions, policies, etc. Today we will cover 3 key policies that are relevant to you as an umpire. They're not the only ones that are relevant, so I certainly urge you, and I'm sure, James, you would have gone through the website where to find the rules on playing conditions and policies. Please keep those pages essentially bookmarked in your browsers so you have quick and handy reference to them. Starting off with extreme weather policy, we've essentially made a few changes into the existing policy that now allows us to do things we were already doing, but do it with a bit more flexibility. This includes things like having extra drinks break, having extended extra drinks breaks off the field, and starting the games early or later and pushing match times in a certain direction based on weather forecasts. A very common question we get asked is why, it's 44 degrees, why aren't you calling games off? And just wanting to provide everyone a bit of context. Basically, temperature is one of the factors that we use. It is not the most important or the only factor that we use. We have a tool that was developed by the Sports Science Department at Cricket Australia, and they basically take into account weather on the day, time of the year, temperature, wind, and most importantly, the humidity factor to give us a scientific reading of what to do at certain index levels. And that's the sort of information we use. And we also use the information around relative cumulative stress in the build up during the week, which is the temperature during the week, which will be the temperature over the weekend if there's more than 1 day of cricket, all that kind of stuff to make those decisions. All I will urge you to do is to follow any extreme weather directives that you will get from cricket operations. They will generally come to you in an email from John or in the before the toss email on a Friday, and you do not have the option of exercising discretion above and beyond or any differently to what those directives are. When a directive comes out, it needs to be implemented as it has been asked, regardless of what the local conditions may be. Now, we fully understand that the conditions at Lark Hill, at Joondalup, or Fremantle might be very different to what they may be at Lark Hill and Gosnells or Midland Guildford, but there is a reason why directives come out as a one for all, that is to maintain competition integrity and fairness for everyone. So we expect all those directives to be complied and followed to the letter that they are announced in. If it may be extreme weather and it may be too hot and it may be slightly cooler at Fremantle, you still need to go through all the process of extended drinks breaks, extra drinks breaks, etc., etc., umpires or captains cannot mutually agree to change those directives based on what they feel like, essentially. The other part of the extreme weather policy is also lightning and thunderstorms. So obviously, if there's a bit of lightning and thunderstorms around, the rule is the 30-30-30 rule. If there's 30 seconds between a clap of thunder and a flash of lightning, you get off straight away. You do not care about the game. You do not care about putting the covers on. You get everyone off straight away. The overriding principle here is the welfare of all participants, players, scorers, volunteers, and umpires involved. So some players may try and put covers on and ask you. You just strongly, very strongly emphasize and recommend to them that they do not go on the field to cover the pitch just for the sake of getting a game in. Now you can preemptively get the covers put on, but that's going to be around managing GWL. It is not to do with anything to do with the enforcement of extreme weather policy, where you will say, oh, we're expecting lightning to get closer and closer. Let's put covers on now so that we don't have to worry about it later. But you can, if you can foresee rain coming, you can certainly do that from a GWL management perspective, but that won't be part of the extreme weather and lightning policy. Now, once that happens, you have to stay off the field for at least 30 minutes, no matter what. And that time resets every time there's a flash and bang within 30 seconds of each other. So you might have come off, and 10 minutes later, you would have seen another flash of thunder and lightning. And then that time of 30 minutes being off the field resets again. So it's really important when you do go off for lightning. It may not be raining, it may not be wet, it may not look like it's going to rain, but if you've gone off for lightning, it's very important that you keep yourself visible under cover, avoiding any metallic structures. Obviously, stay indoors, but still don't hide inside the change rooms, and be available, be visible indoors, so that you can also keep an eye on the weather and any other thunder and lightning activity around the area. Any questions or comments from anyone on that part? No, all good. All right, and then we will move to basically the next policy, which is more so a guidelines document. This is a brand new concussion head trauma management guidelines document. This works in conjunction with the helmet use policy. And the helmet use policy basically dictates that all the batters in Premier Cricket must wear a British standard helmet when facing pace bowling, and all wicket keepers when they are up to the stumps. Now, for junior players, they have to wear a helmet at all times, regardless of the type of bowling. For senior players, and it's any senior, even if junior players are playing senior cricket, they still have to comply to this helmet requirement. But for any players that are over the age of 18, they can choose to not wear a helmet when there are spin or slow bowlers bowling. Now, the discretion of what is pace versus spin is entirely the responsibility of the umpires, but they must enforce a batter wearing a helmet. It is not the umpire's responsibility to make sure the helmet is a British standard helmet, but it is their responsibility that they are wearing a helmet. Now, biggest point I can give to all of you is that if you notice adjustable buttons on the side of the helmet, adjustable straps essentially on the side of the grill, that is not a British standard helmet. So if you see that, obviously you'll still let them play, but you'll make a note of that in your match reports so we can follow them up and deal with it accordingly. Now, once that helmet use policy is in play, you're now also instructed to implement concussion head trauma management guidelines. This means that any impact to the head or neck by a cricket ball, by collision, equipment, bat, another person, stumps, hitting the ground, anything where there is an impact to the head or neck, you must pause the game and conduct a welfare check. That is not a concussion check. It's just simply checking on the welfare of that participant and making sure they're all okay and they're okay to continue their participation. You're not there to do a concussion test like a doctor or someone else would who is medically qualified to do so. Now, you must call dead ball at the earliest possible opportunity. This wording does differ slightly to what it says in the guidelines document, but it will be updated in the next couple of months. But basically, you have the discretion to call dead ball straight away if there is a flush, serious, forceful impact. And you also have the discretion to just delay that call to allow play to continue if it's just a glancing blow, if it's ricocheted off a glove and the ball has basically lost momentum and it's not a forceful impact. The judgment relies on the umpire. And I believe we will see some videos very shortly. We'll have a discussion on whether you will call dead ball straight away or whether you delay the call. So we will give you some examples on when to call it immediately and when to delay the call. But essentially, regardless of whether you call the dead ball immediately or delay a dead ball call or wait for the ball to be dead through natural course of play by either going to the boundary, a run being completed, etc., or a wicket being taken, you must conduct a welfare check. Make sure, check with the player, they're okay, they're doing okay, they're not feeling symptoms, they don't have any pain, swelling, nausea, or anything like that. And making sure just they are aware of where they are and what they're doing and that kind of stuff. Just general well-being questions. And then you have to also just monitor them and look out for any symptoms of dizziness, loss of balance, bit of confusion, glassy eyes, or any nausea, vomiting, or any symptoms of illnesses, because concussion can happen an hour later, 2 hours later, 3 hours later. So just because they're fine in that moment, they may get worse as the game goes on. And if they do, you essentially have to get a club person involved from their team and get them removed from the game. Now, you will strongly recommend that. You cannot force them to do it. So you just strongly recommend and strongly suggest that person or that their captain or their team manager, etc. Now, if a junior player is involved, you have to get a coach involved or a team manager involved to make sure they let that player's parent or guardian know. And obviously, if another umpire is involved, then a home club will look after that umpire as well. Essentially, you have to just look after them, monitor their well-being. And at the end of the match, you have to put those instances in your match report. So make sure you're making good notes about when it happened, how forceful it was, who it happened to, that kind of stuff, because we will be collecting that information from you in every single match report. There's sections built in to do that. Now, it is also good practice for you to just email us if it's a multi-day match and it happens on day one of a 2-day game. That may be applicable to senior male grades and under 15s and 17s, where you have the same match over 2 weekends. So it'll be good practice for you to email us. But if something does happen, we are likely going to reach out to you between days 1 and 2 to just get a bit more information, because clubs now have the ability to do a concussion substitute as part of this policy and guidelines document. Now, concussion can only be diagnosed by a medical professional. A player cannot be concussion substituted out of a 1-day match. So any games that are of 1 day's duration, T20, 1 day, anything like that, you cannot allow a replacement. They may simply remove themselves from a match. You may allow them to get a substitute fielder. They may not incur any penalty time, etc. But they cannot have another player replace them and take full batting and bowling rights within a game of 1 day's duration. In a 2-day match, they can. But if that happens, clubs need to lodge an application through us, and we approve it at a competition level. And we will always tell the umpires before they go into day 2 of the game. So a captain, a player, a team manager, a coach cannot come up to you on day 2 and say, oh, he got hit last week, you saw that. We are removing him and we're going to have a concussion substitute. They cannot do that. You will be denying any such requests. They have to go through us the competitions and operations department to get those approvals in place. But ultimately, again, similar to other policies, the principle of player welfare, participant well-being applies. If I say so, speaking on behalf of James, Luke, myself, John, we will back you. If you call a dead ball, there's no right or wrong, but if you call it when it shouldn't be, then we will still back you if you keep the principle of participant well-being in back of your mind, keep it at the forefront of your match management, and we will back you on that. But again, be very mindful of when it is reasonable to allow play to happen and when it's not reasonable, and call that ball straight away. Situation of the game, it may be a close game, end of the game, things like that, or maybe a main player, that kind of stuff does not matter. So be very conservative and be very cautious in terms of managing any head knocks on match days. Other than that, I don't believe there's anything else that's relevant, James.
No, that's fantastic, Ahmed. Thanks very much. I will reiterate Ahmed's point. We'll see a couple of examples right now, actually, of head knocks. So can you tell me if you can just see a bit of footage there? Somebody give me a thumbs up. Thank you. So let's just watch here. So there's a whole spectrum when it comes to head knocks. What we're talking about now is calling and signaling dead ball immediately and getting to the player as quick as we can. Okay, these few seconds could be vital. They could be vital, and this is where player welfare, it's a bit of a seesaw. That player welfare is vastly much more important than the situation of the game. So if a team need 2 runs to win, for example, and a ball comes in and absolutely collects the batter on the head and goes off to the boundary, and this batter's in a similar situation to this first one that we'll see, then you call and signal dead ball. That is much more important than these runs. Player welfare is more important than these runs in these extreme situations. So let's just watch this one. So ball goes out to mid-on. And clearly the batter is really badly hurt. Really, really badly hurt. So we'll just watch one more time. So watch the umpire. Head strike now. Watch the umpire. Realizes what's gone on. And it's less than a second and a half before the umpire calls dead ball. And in this instance, there was the opportunity to call for medical assistance. We want to get somebody out from the batting team as soon as possible, whether it be a coach or a friend or a colleague. We want to get them out as soon as possible. So the state of the game is not important here. That was such a significant head knock. So the bowler, Harry Conway, is bowling 135 k's an hour. It's 156 grams of ball, and it's hit the batter flush on the head. Absolutely floored the batter. Let's have a look at the next one. Bowler bowls, hits the batter in the grill, and the batter goes over. And in that time, the batter's hit the stumps. So can anybody say, would you be calling, or would you be giving the batter out in this instance? You can put it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself to say what's the result of that ball. You have to give us a bit more than that. Mahesh,
Should we get the ball?
So I guess the question is, are you giving the batter out? And the answer is no.
No.
And why is that?
Yeah, my answer is no, because the batsman was to get, protect himself from getting hit.
Okay. Okay, he's typing. So Asif, what's your response, Asif? If you could explain your no for us, Asif. That's the same as Mahesh. Is that your response? Yep. Okay. So the laws of cricket. Ahmed, do you want to go through the law, or shall I go through it?
I'm happy to cover it if you want word by word.
Yeah,
but
please do.
Essentially,
Please do.
So I will read it word for word from the dead ball law 20. But essentially, the ball becomes dead at the point of an incident causing the dead ball. But I will read the exact number. So umpires calling and signaling dead ball. So when either umpire is required to call and signal dead ball, this is law 20.4.2. When either umpire is required to call and signal dead ball, the ball will be considered to be dead at the instant of the incident causing the ball to become dead. However, it provides reasons for umpires to delay that call to not disadvantage a fielding team, etc., or non-offending team. But essentially, either umpire shall call and signal dead ball when intervening in case of unfair play or a possible serious injury to a player or umpire occurs. So that's 20.4.2 under the laws. And in this instant, essentially, you're calling it dead straight away. You might call it after the fact that the stumps are broken, but the ball does become dead at the instant the incident happened that caused it to be dead. So that'll be the instant the ball hit the helmet. Anything after that doesn't matter.
Correct. It's a difficult sell to get through to the teams, but if you do it confidently, respectfully, and then if they want to have a look at the law afterwards, then you can show them the law, because hopefully you'll have your laws book or your app. And as Ahmed says, it's in law 20 dead ball. Thanks, Ahmed. So this next one. Okay, so who will show you by using your hands up, who would call and signal dead ball immediately? So the ball went down to the boundary. So it's come off the batter's helmet and gone down to the boundary. Who is going to call and signal dead ball immediately? Okay, who is going to let the ball go down to the boundary and then turn and signal leg byes and then 4 and then go and check on the player welfare? Rajes. So someone's giving a hands up. Yeah. Good responses. Okay, so it's any head knock, as we have established, is not trivial. Any head knock at all, any head impact to the head or neck. So when I say head knock, I'm referring to an impact with either the head or the neck. And that can be a coming together of batter and fielder, two batters running into each other, a batter diving and hitting their head on the ground, or ball on head or neck. They are not trivial. These are not trivial, and we need to record them. So we record it in our notebook, the who, the what, and the severity of the impact, which we're then going to put in our match report at the end of the match. However, in this instance, I'd back you up. So it's not a heavy impact. It is not a significant heavy impact. I would say it's a light glancing blow and the ball has gone down to the boundary. So we'd let the play continue and finish, and then we would have the person have a welfare check, not a concussion check, a welfare check. So yeah, I think that's probably a good call. Let's have a look. We've just got 2 more to watch. Okay, so we've now got 3 options here. So Mahesh, is that a question or did you just leave your hand up?
I just left it. All good.
Oh, okay. So I can give any option here and your hand will be up. So this is what you agree.
No. I just took it
Oh, Mahesh, well done. Thank you. So our first option here is who is going to call and signal dead ball immediately on this head knock? Okay, my second question or my second option is who is going to allow the ball to go over the replay? You want to replay? Thanks, Ahmed. Good shout. Here we go. So Will Sutherland bowls to Hilton Cartwright. Short ball. Cartwright pulls out the way to try and avoid being hit by the ball. Ball hits him on the grill and then goes down to the boundary. So second option is who is going to allow that play to continue. Signal leg byes. 4 runs, and then do a welfare check on the batter. There is another option. Is anybody going to do that, or are you waiting for your last option? Ahmed's going to do that one. Raj is as well. Okay, so our third option is we let the ball go to the boundary, and as the ball goes over the boundary, we call and signal dead ball, and we do not award those leg byes. We still conduct that welfare check. Who is going to take that option? Shazad is going to do that. Raj, put your hand down, mate. You can't do 2, you can't do both. I'll see if he's going for option 2. Second option for Mahesh. Kurt, are you going for the third option or the second option? Okay, so this is where our laws combine. We have the law of dead ball, and we have the law of leg byes to count or not. So my personal option will be the second option. The batter, Hilton Cartwright, is clearly trying to avoid being hit by the ball, in my opinion, and therefore I will be awarding those leg byes. Even though he's not attempted to hit the ball, our second caveat in leg byes is if they're trying to avoid being hit by the ball, and therefore I'm comfortable that the batter is in that instance. So I'm going to call leg byes, boundary 4, and then I'm going to conduct a welfare check on the batter. And our final one, Michael Nessa to Jai Richardson, and I think the umpire's given it away there. So who is going to call and signal dead ball immediately? So the ball's gone out to point, and there could be a run on. The ball could be going out to the boundary and then go over the boundary. But who's going to call and signal dead ball immediately and conduct that welfare check? So Mahesh, Raj, Shazad, Ahmed, Kurt. Okay, yeah. Other option is to just let the play continue and just conduct a welfare check. That was a significant impact. Michael Nessa bowls a heavy ball, and it's hit Jai Richardson flush on the grill and gone flying off. So, yeah, some good learning there. Okay, that is the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for your time. If anybody would like to come online and ask a question or pop something in the chat, then please do so. This recording will be available on Friday via Before the Toss, hopefully tomorrow. And we'll look forward to seeing you very, very soon. Please ensure, if you're going to umpire in Premier Cricket, you have your Premier Cricket registration form complete, you have your Officials HQ registration complete, and you have your availability in Officials HQ either. So if you're unavailable, you need to note in Officials HQ that you are unavailable, because otherwise you will be appointed to a match. We're doing the first round of appointments. The appointments committee are meeting tomorrow, and the appointments will be published next week. Very exciting. Only 9 more days to go until the start of the season. As ever, my phone is always on. I don't always answer it, but I will always respond. So please give me a call, or give Ahmed a call, or give John a call, or give your mentor a call, or give one of the senior umpires a call if you have a question about playing conditions, about laws, about the logistics of what it actually means to be an umpire in the Premier Cricket competition. Thank you very much for your time. Please don't log off until you have scanned in using the QR code. There's only a few of you that have, so if you haven't scanned in, please do so using this QR code. And I'm going to finish this record, or end this recording now, and I will bid you a good evening. Thanks very much and goodbye. I'm going to be on for another couple of minutes taking questions if there are any. If not, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. All the best.